Captain's log, stardate 55514.3. The expedition is heading to the SXUY 459 system after rendezvousing with the Elysia and completing the transfer of the civilian crew members to the ship. We are being sent to the system to investigate intermittent energy reading that was detected by long range sensor probes near the system. These energy readings may be the first indication of a possible advanced civilization within the system itself. While no signs of warp or subspace frequencies from the system, they may have other forms of interstellar travel. While I'm hopeful this may be a first contact situation, but investigating the unexplored system is our top priority, and who may be there. Also, on a lighter note, I am told Commander Casey will be giving a presentation for some of the school children on the ship early this morning. A venture I hope he is ready for, but will be an important one at that. And Captain's log.
All right, so you all had a chance to read the mission briefing. You got it just in time for your morning senior staff meeting. So everyone's been able to get their stations all set, get the orders out, and we're actually going to start this scene with Casey um, about to enter the school room to give his presentation to the school children. Casey will set you right outside the door to the schoolroom.
He will sort of take one last look at his notes and then, I guess, enter.
And the door opens. And the teacher will be standing in front of the class, and she will be saying, and so when you hear and see the red lights go on, it is important that you get to your designated shelters. It is for your safety and to ensure that you can be counted. Does everyone understand that? And all the school children will say yes. And then she'll hear the door open and look over. Oh, and she'll look at the time. It's like, oh yeah, I set up a very special presentation for you kids today. We have Commander Casey. He is the chief of security aboard the ship. He's going to talk to you kids about what his job is. And she'll move to the side and let you have the floor, Casey.
Well, thank you very much, Miss Sarah. Hello, everyone. Did the kids answer?
The kids will answer, says, hello.
As your teacher here has introduced me, I am Commander Casey, but you can call me Arno. I am the Chief of Security on board this ship, and that means that I am responsible for keeping everyone safe in any potential situations that may arise on board the ship. Of course, life on a ship can be very regimented, and there's a lot of stuff that you have to know in order to keep yourself safe during situations which we might encounter. Different situations that you may not encounter before living on a planet. In the coming weeks, I plan on having my security officers run some drills with you so that you will all eventually learn the ins and outs of security procedure on board this vessel and what your jobs are to keep yourselves and your families safe. Your teacher was correct when the red alert klaxons sound. You must go to the designated shelter areas and wait there to be counted. I will promulgate a list of these, and hopefully your teacher here can show them to you shortly. Does anyone have any particular questions about security on board the ship?
And one of the little boys will speak up and say, have you ever shot anyone?
While we do, on occasion, find ourselves in positions of armed conflict, it is something we do only in self defense. For your concern, you shall not have to worry about that. Uh, any sort of phaser weapons will be issued only to Starfleet personnel. If you come across a phaser, please report it to a security officer, and absolutely under no circumstance do you pick it up.
A child raises their hand.
You'll point to them.
Does that mean we're not going to get training to shoot the phasers?
That is correct, yes. Phaser training will only be given to Starfleet personnel. So if any of you study hard in your classes and decide to attend the academy or the Technical Services College, then you too can receive that training.
Another child raises their hand.
You will point. Yes.
Mr. Casey, I know that you said that we can't fire a phaser, but can I shoot photon torpedoes?
All ship weaponry areas are strictly controlled. Perhaps I could arrange a tour for you of the Photon Torpedo Bay, but like all weapon systems, operation will be reserved to assigned Starfleet personnel.
Another kid raises their hand.
Yes, go ahead.
What happens if bad people get on the ship? Like, would you have to kill them?
The tactical response to this situation will, of course, be the responsibility of the security team. However, you all have a very important job in this. This is one of the first drills that my officers will be helping you go through. It is your job to keep yourselves safe and stay together so that you may be counted. When an alert goes off of a potential intruder, there will be designated sites which can be cordoned off where no one will be able to get through.
Do you think Miss Julia is a victim?
Is what, sorry?
He asked if you think she is pretty, and would you kiss her?
Interesting question. Your teacher is a delightful lady. And he will just leave it at that. And he'll smile sheepishly at the teacher.
Is there any serious questions for the commander? And she'll smile back at you, Casey.
My kid raises his hand.
Yes, go ahead.
Do you have a spouse?
I am unmarried. The life aboard ship can make it difficult to maintain a family, especially before now when civilians weren't allowed on board. However, with our new mission, this is changing. Does anyone have any other questions for me?
How come we can't walk around outside?
Well, I'm sure your teacher will soon be going over some science lessons with you. Outside the ship is what we would call a vacuum. There is no air, uh, which means that you would not be able to breathe, and it would be very, very cold. Excursions from the ship can be conducted using special suits. However, training in those is limited to firstly adults and to certain personnel on board the ship. Perhaps when you are older.
Have you ever been in space?
I have performed a number of extravehicular walks, or spacewalks as we sometimes call them.
My kid immediately starts to sob when he says that we won't be able to breathe outside the ship.
He'll just stand there awkwardly.
What
Kinda
happens
look
if
at
the
the
air
teacher.
runs out?
Well, we don't have to worry about that really on the ship. Our life support systems have backup upon backup.
But what if the backups fail?
Well, that's why we have Chief Engineer on board, Lieutenant Commander Mendra. Perhaps you two will meet him at some point. He makes sure that our systems are always in top running order, and when something needs fixed, he'll get it done as soon as possible. I have great faith in our engineering staff on board, and I certainly wouldn't worry about these sorts of things.
Can he fix toys?
I'm afraid he's probably too busy for that.
Well, children, if there is nothing else, thank the commander for his time. And after all the children thank him, she'll say, thank you, Commander, for taking time out of your busy day to instruct the children.
Thank you for the invitation, Miss Hare, and thank you to all of you for the interesting questions.
And then I'm assuming you're making your way toward the door right after that.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll do the kids clapping after someone talks in class, but as they do that, I'll leave.
So as soon as you start heading toward the door, she'll say, okay, children, grab your pads. We're going to start our chapter on first contact. As Casey steps out of the door and into the hall.
You let out a sigh of relief.
And we'll head to the bridge with the senior staff taking their positions on the bridge. I'm getting ready to enter the system in, maybe about 30 minutes time. and we'll open up the bridge for any free role play that you would like to have, potentially about the mission.
Lieutenant Nadan, anything on long-range sensors?
I'll check, Captain.
Your sensors are currently giving you preliminary readings from the system.
We can detect the system. I am currently collecting some long-range data. Nothing too noteworthy right now, Captain.
Understood.
Well, Captain, potential first contact. I have to say, this is one of the more exciting and interesting parts of our jobs.
Indeed, or you could be walking into some sort of spatial anomaly.
Well, that is true. What number would this be for you? Well, first contact, I mean.
Oh, probably 4 or 5 at this point, maybe. Don't really keep track.
Well, let's hope that, well, we are coming into a first contact situation. Although, to your point, won't be the first time nor the last that a ship has been faked out by some sort of a space anomaly.
And Casey will step onto the bridge.
Mr. Casey, how did your presentation go?
I would say it went well, Captain. The children had some rather interesting questions for me. They were somewhat disappointed to learn that I wasn't going to be teaching them how to shoot a phaser.
I'm sure they were.
He'll take his post.
Approaching the system, Captain.
Understood. Drop us out at the edge of the system. Not see if you can find us a good path to approach the system Undetected.
Dropped out of warp 1 million kilometers outside the system, Captain.
Begin standard sensor sweep, Lieutenant.
This would be reasoner control with science, difficulty 1, assisted by ship's sensor science. So that's probably going to end up being a difficulty 0. Just need ship. All right, guys, gain 2 momentum. And your sensors give you the first data set now, Lieutenant.
Captain, there's 8 planets in the system, including a few rocky worlds, couple gas giants. Most of the planets have moons, and there's a couple asteroid belts, pretty standard for this sort of system. The star has the same classification as Sol. There's a Class M world on the second planet, and that's where the energy reading is, Captain.
Are you able to tell what type of Helm, bring us set a course for the gas giant. Do you believe you'll get some more accurate readings from there, Lieutenant?
GM?
Yeah, the range will probably add a couple points of probably add a point or 2 of difficulty, but you should be able to scan from there.
It'll get more difficult by getting closer?
No, it'd be more difficult because you're not in orbit of the planet. Because I think he said to go to the gas giant, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay, I understand.
So it would be ideal if you were in orbit, but since you're not in orbit, it'll be a little bit more difficult. But with the ship's advanced sensor suites, it should handle it.
Okay. Yes, Captain, we should be able to get good readings from that distance.
Helm, set a course for the closest gas giant to the second planet in the system.
Aye, Captain, that'll be the 4th planet in the system, setting a course now. And the con officers start tapping his buttons. Course laid in, Captain.
Engage.
And he'll engage impulse speeds. And after a few minutes, he'll report back. Captain, entering standard orbit around the 4th planet.
All right, Lieutenant, begin your scans of the second planet.
All right, this one will be a reason or control with science. Base difficulty will be 3, assisted by the ship's sensors and science. So this will probably end up being a difficulty 2.
Okay, I will spend 1 momentum to get 1 extra die.
All right, you guys gain 2 momentum from that. There's your second bit of information.
As my question, where is the energy rating on the second planet coming from? Okay. Captain, there's it's quite interesting actually. There appears to be massive storm systems on the poles, but no other significant weather anywhere on the planet. There does appear to be several settlements that are unpowered, with the exception of one of the larger cities. I've highlighted it on the screen here, and that one is the one where the energy signature is coming from.
What type of energy signal, Lieutenant?
Running the analysis now, Captain.
Go ahead and give me a reason or control. With, I think we'll call this engineering. This one will be a difficulty of 3. Base difficulty. Okay, with your range, will be base difficulty 4, assisted by the ship's sensors, engineering. So it'll be a base difficulty 3.
Okay. I will again spend a momentum to get an extra die.
Oh yeah, it's engineering. Never mind. Just need the ship.
And that was ship sensors engineering, right?
Correct. You do succeed.
Captain, I can't tell what it's what it's being used for. It appears to be localized to a single building, however. I'll bring up the location on the screen.
And the view screen is able to focus in on what looks to be a very tall building in the on the city screen.
Type of energy?
This could be one of your questions.
Yeah, I'll use it as that. Sorry, I was muted.
Simple power system is probably like simple fusion power system.
Oh, okay. It appears to be fusion, Captain. Just a very potent fusion power. Um, I'm still not sure what it's being used to power. Whatever it is, that's pulling a lot of power. Jim, just as a quick note, are we close enough that I could run a scan to see if the cities without power are currently inhabited?
You can. This will be a reason or control with science. The base difficulty will be 3, assisted by the ship's sensor science.
Okay. I'm curious if this is the kind of situation where we've got like a pre-electricity culture that somehow some other culture is making or is taking over one of their cities or something. What was the difficulty you'd said?
The base difficulty is 3, so with your sensors, it'll be diff 2.
Okay.
And then sensor science for the ship.
There we are. That's interesting. Captain, the other cities all appear to be deserted. Or all of the cities, rather.
And they're just concentrated around this one city?
Jim, is this city the city with the power source itself is also deserted, right? Yes. Captain, the city with the power sources also appears to be deserted.
No sign of the potential indigenous population of who built these cities?
None that I can detect, Captain.
Interesting. Helm, move us within orbit around the second planet.
Aye, Captain. And a minute or two go by, and you enter the standard orbit around the planet.
Lieutenant, what's causing these storms that are in the polar regions?
I could probably make you roll for this, to be honest. Let us get a reason or insight science. This will be a base difficulty of 3, assisted by the ship's sensor science. So difficulty 2. And you do have a complication on the table.
I'll spend to get rid of that.
Okay.
Captain, I'm not able to determine what would be causing the storms. It doesn't appear that anything is manipulating the weather patterns. At the same time, I can't understand why there would be this weather pattern. It doesn't make sense for this kind of a planet.
The cities in the planet, do they appear? What level of technology do they appear to be constructed at? Are we referring to something more pre-industrial, or post-industrial, or further down the line?
I'll check the data we've got and see. It appears to be post-information age, Captain.
So, like, there is evidence of there being satellites in orbit, man-made satellites, um, some space program of sorts. Like, imagine our technology maybe 20 to 50 years in the future. And that's where they're at about.
can you determine how long the cities have been in its current state?
I'll try to analyze the buildings for signs of wear and weathering to determine how long they've been abandoned.
Let's go ahead and have an insight science difficulty 4. No assist.
I will spend threat for 2 extra dice then. So I have it. I will check and see if that applies. I'm not sure if it does.
If what applies?
Testing a theory and theory into practice.
I don't think they do.
Yeah, if I'd remembered to flag it on the previous roll, that would have worked because I'd scanned previously. But I don't think I've run this sort of an analysis previously. Well, it's as long as you succeeded at a previous task covering the same scientific or technological field earlier in the same adventure.
I still don't think it applies, though.
Okay.
Because it's not so much that you're trying to figure out what the technology is, you're trying to figure out how long it's been down there in its current state.
Okay. Then yeah, spending threat to get 2 extra dice.
And you were worried. You get momentum out of that. "23 years about."
Interesting. Captain, it appears that they've been idle or abandoned for about 23 years. A little over 2 decades.
Any signs of what any remains that you can detect, or are they just all vanished?
I'll see if I can detect evidence of sentient remains. No, Captain, it's just empty.
Well, Commander, assemble a way team and let's figure out what this device is and see if you can figure out what happened to them. Take all precautions necessary. I would recommend every individual or every member of the way team be in EVA suits.
Understood, Captain. We'll figure out what we can. Okay. So as the captain said, we'll all be in EVA suits. Let's see here. Given what we know, Nidan, would you be down for an away mission?
Sure thing, Commander.
Okay. Probably want to take the chief on this one as well, given the power source. Doctor, I'd love for you to come with us.
Understood.
And yeah, let's just take a full crew. Let's go Casey and Shachakrath. I think she's ground tactics. Let me pull her up.
Yes.
Yeah, so yep, we'll take a full crew.
All right. So you're bringing six personnel.
Correct.
Okay. Any special equipment other than the EV suits that the captain suggested?
Do we know if the power source is going to present any issues with us beaming down or up?
No, will not interfere with your transporter.
Okay. I don't know. Is there any other specialized scientific equipment we could take? I'd have to pull up one of the books.
Yeah, let me check one of the books quickly.
Because yeah, everyone has their tricorders. The engineer is going to have their engineering kit. The doctor's going to have his medical kit. You know, the basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Taking phasers as well, or
Yes.
Yeah, that's standard equipment. So yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yep. Do y'all remember what page the equipment section is on?
In which book?
It's a good question. Just the main book.
It's like 178-ish or something.
I just searched for equipment and there it is. Yeah. It's like around about 180. So good memory.
Couldn't remember if it was 178 or 183. But apparently it's 183. Yep, 190 actually.
We got phasers, body armor.
I know the expansion books list more, but I definitely do not remember what those are.
Nadon, I'm not really seeing much that might help with power equipment, unless you are.
Likewise, no.
Okay. Yeah. In that case, I think we're good to go.
All right, so I just need the transporter roll.
What's the difficulty?
See, base difficulty's 3, and then you get 2 subtraction, so I guess it'll be diff 1.
Transport replicas for a focus.
Yep.
Take a threat.
Then I just need sensors engineering.
Delayed reaction.
Be a 3 momentum gain. We'll enter the next scene as you are beamed to the planet. So you go down a momentum. All right, the away team beams down to one of the city centers closest to the power source and finds a city very reminiscent of any typical Federation city. Storefronts with goods and merchandise still in the windows line the streets, seemingly awaiting customers. Towering skyscrapers reach up multiple stories with living rooms and balconies suggesting living spaces nearby. You can even make out a tram station with a tram still waiting in its station, waiting with doors open as if still waiting for passengers. All of the buildings still seem in good repair. You get the feeling that it is that whoever once lived here just up and left.
I'll run some sensor sweeps of the ambient atmosphere. Like, are there any pathogens or toxins in the area?
No, the air is reading very, very fresh. You know, it says the oxygen, nitrogen atmosphere. There's no pollutants, no pathogens. You know, you're still getting like the the typical pollen from plants and animal life, but there's nothing toxic to the air at all.
Lieutenant, how close are we to the power source?
I'll triangulate its position from where we are using the ship as a reference.
So this is going to be reason or insight with con, difficulty 1. Oh, you rolled it. Yep, you succeed.
Are we within walking distance?
Oh, yeah. I sent you a little info, too.
Oh, great. I'll point the direction, and we'll need to go past a residential area past the tram and a shopping district, and then we'll find a really big building, and that's where the power that we're detecting is coming from. Commander.
Okay, let's make our way. Everyone keep their eyes peeled. Obviously, we don't anticipate trouble, but, well, this is a little eerie. So let's make sure we're on alert. All right, let's move out.
All right. The away team, you start making your way toward the building with the power signature. And the first thing you run into is a street that seems very much to be like a residential district. You could make balconies with patio furniture. On the ground level, you could see into some of the residential apartment buildings, and you could see like the tables, the furniture. Um, on the tables, it looks like like there's like plates and glasses. There looks to be degraded foodstuffs on those plates.
Give me a sense of what it would equate to an Earth technology era. Is it 20th century or
Uh,
earlier or later?
Posted information, so like maybe 25 years past where we are. So a little bit more advanced than what we're used to, but still very much
Okay.
in terms of Starfleet, the technology is inferior, but
Yeah, it's way yeah. All right. Commander, do we want to get some fermentation, perhaps on the decaying food or something, to see maybe what happens?
I think he read my mind, Chief. Team, let's do some scans of the residential areas. Let's not go too deep, but let's gather what data we can, as the chief mentioned, about any foodstuffs. Well, and to be honest, I would be interested to see if there were any artifacts left over by the inhabitants, images, writing, anything that we can find just quickly. And so, yeah, I guess we'll make our way to one of the residential units on the ground floor.
okay. So you enter one of the residential units, and when you enter, there still has the furniture. There's still clothing lying around. There's clothing in the wardrobes. There's still a bed with blankets strewn across it. You do notice that there are personal effects like pictures and small knickknacks lining the tables and the cupboards. Someone checks the fridge or scans into the fridge, and it does have decayed foodstuffs in it. One of the glasses on the table seems to have some type of milk in it, quite possibly from one of the local animals. Definitely giving off the spoiled milk smell, but you guys wouldn't be able to smell that because you're in
Oh.
suits.
Yeah.
Do you want any samples taken, Commander, or just scans?
For now, let's just do some scans.
All right.
Lieutenant Nidan, presumably if there's glasses, utensils used, I wonder if we can get a scan of any DNA from the inhabitants. It might tell us something about, well, who or what used to be here. Doctor, actually, I'll throw that your way. Could you get us some scans? Look for any DNA of the inhabitants. Doctor, if you said something, you might be on mute. Okay. Lieutenant Idan, could you take that scan?
Yes, Captain. Commander, sorry.
I enjoyed the
Don
promotion.
giving the commander a promotion again.
So what's the it was reason medicine, was it, that you wanted?
I already gave
Jim?
you the info.
Oh, okay, perfect. Let me oh, there it is. Oddly, Commander, there are none. No DNA detected.
Huh. GM, do we get a sense as to what these inhabitants looked like from the?
Oh yeah, you're able to see what the inhabitants would look like from the pictures.
Okay.
Your typical alien of the week with a glued prosthetic to their face. Let's call it the cheeks this time.
Okay.
Sorry for the lack of description there.
No, yeah, it's no worries.
But yeah, there's like some ridges that just follows the cheekbone on both cheeks, going from about the bridge of the nose all the way down to like the chin. Other than that, they look humanoid, or look humanoid, typical humanoid fashion, whatever.
Well, let's take some samples of any organic matter. And
most of that's going to come from the foodstuffs, the degraded
Yeah.
foodstuffs.
and yeah, let's be on our way.
After your slight detour through the residential center, you come to what looks like a shopping district. And here, the storefronts are fully stocked with goods. One of the local food stores even has signs of still having food, even though it is badly degraded. You can make out stuff like fruits, vegetables, meat, fish, pretty much what you'd expect to find at a grocery store. All of the food stuff from your scans do appear to have degraded naturally over the last couple of decades.
Well, I mean, unless anybody has anything they'd want to check out in the store, I guess we can just continue.
All right, you continue on your way, and we'll actually go back up to the ship. Has the captain come back yet?
I'm here.
Oh, cool. All right, Captain. While on the ship, your operations officer says, Captain, a ship is dropping out of warp at the edge of the system. Our sensors are indicating that ship is actively scanning the system with a standard survey pattern. Classification of the ship is unknown.
I think we lost you for part of that.
Did you?
I heard
I
everyone.
got the ladder clear.
I heard nothing between a ship and then standard survey pattern.
All right, I'll try it again. A ship drops out of warp at the edge of the system. Sensors are indicating that the ship is actively scanning the system with a standard search pattern, or standard survey pattern, sorry.
Great, thanks.
Hot mic, Casey. Mr. Sova, get a scan on that vessel.
This is going to be a reason or insight with either security or engineering, base difficulty of 3, assisted by the ship's sensor science.
We'll have Freya do that instead, because her engineering's better. No focus. Is it difficulty 3?
Base difficulty 3, so it'll be a difficulty 2 after the reduction.
Take 1 threat. You said reason, right?
Reason or insight, whichever you like.
She did give you a threat, so
Yep.
you roll a 0.
Then just need ship. Gain 2 momentum. Captain, I've completed my analysis of the ship. It appears that the ship is only capable of warp 4 maximum. The weapons and the shielding are 200 years behind standard Starfleet technology. I do not expect them to pose any threat to the ship, Captain.
Nothing in the database, Lieutenant?
No, Captain.
Open a hailing frequency. General response.
Captain, it does not look like they're responding to hails. But they are still following their survey pattern.
Life signs on the ship?
About 50, Captain.
What's their current distance?
They are currently surveying the outer planets. Maybe about 30 AUs.
This might take a while. Open frequencies using radio receivers. Send out a general message here. This is Captain Israel Prax of the Federation starship Expedition. We are currently in orbit over the second planet. We are fellow explorers and conducting an investigation here at a referred to as a Class M planetoid. Please respond.
I think that got their attention, Captain. They just started actively scanning the second planet.
That or they just detected the.
Now they're hailing us, Captain.
On screen or over audio.
And appearing before you is that alien. This is Captain Rhoda of the Empire, representing Planet 2K. We noticed that you have sent a team down to Planet 19B. Do you intend to claim this planet in accordance with the Interplanetary Coalition Treaty, Article 73C, Section K?
I am not familiar with those articles, but I am Captain Israel Prax of the United Federation Starship Expedition. In terms for claiming this planet, this world was once home to an indigenous population. We are conducting a survey mission and research to see what happened to its occupants.
Since you have arrived first, have you registered your intent for colonization? We will recognize your right to colonize if you so choose. If you do not have any such desire, we will register our intent with our coalition representative.
Slow down. Who are you with first?
I am Captain Rhoda of the Empire, representing Planet 2K.
Right, and your mission here is for colonization?
That is correct.
GM, we're outside of Federation space or are we in Federation space?
Probably just outside. But, just because you're in Federation space doesn't really mean much because it's big. But yes, probably just outside at this point.
How close to the border is it? A light year or two?
Yeah, not too much.
Before we stake our claim on colonization, I would like to talk with you, if you do not mind.
That will be agreeable. Just so you are aware, Captain Prax, I do intend on sending down my own survey teams to several of the cities.
Understood. Be advised there is an unusual weather pattern in the poles. We are not sure if this phenomenon is natural or not, but it does appear to be natural. And is unusual.
We thank you for that exchange of information. We will make the necessary preparations.
Understood. Keep in mind, though, if we find out what happened to the inhabitants, they may want to have their world back. If they are still around.
Interplanetary Coalition Treaty, Article 75, Section 19 Delta, states that should a planet be already inhabited, no colonization may take place.
Understood. I look forward to meeting when you arrive in orbit.
We estimate with our current course and speed to enter orbit in approximately 1 hour.
Understood. I will see you then.
And the screen goes back to space.
Opening communication to the away team.
Aye, Captain. Channel is open.
Expedition to away team.
Away team here. What is it, Captain?
Commander, we have some unexpected visitors that entered the system. So far, they appear to be friendly and will be arriving soon in orbit, and they'll be sitting down their own survey team to investigate these cities.
Understood, Captain. So, am I to assume that we'll have visitors in the city that we're currently in?
That would be a most excellent guess, Commander, though as to where they're going to be at is unknown. But they are wishing to claim colonization rights of this planet.
Well, that's certainly interesting. Understood, Captain. We'll let you know. We'll let you know what happens.
Very well. Expedition out.
And the channel closes to the away team.
Coda, keep a eye on that vessel. Something doesn't sit right with me on this.
Understood, Captain.
Bridge to transporter room.
Go ahead, Captain.
Mr. Matthews, please keep a lock on the away team at all times in case we have to do an emergency beam out.
Understood, Captain. I will maintain emergency sensor lock on the away team.
Bridge out. Knights, what was their weapon systems like?
Appears to be primitive phaser cannons, Captain. Very low powered. Our shield should be enough to handle anything they have, but I suspect that our hull plating should be able to handle the blast as well.
Understood. I got nothing else, GM.
All right, we'll head back to the planet really quick for. So DeGrasse, you just probably got the thought to continue walking down when the captain called you. So I'll open up for role play with your away team at the information that you just got.
Well, team, it seems like we may have some visitors joining us.
How's hostile or not?
Well, from what the captain says, they appear to be friendly. He did mention that they may attempt to claim colonization rights on this planet.
That's peculiar, considering there's a missing population here.
I agree.
I wonder if there's something more to that. Of course, they may not have any idea either.
I can't say I would be too eager to live among the crumbling ruins of another civilization, which disappeared without trace.
And Shashakreth will speak up. But think of how much less work they'll have to colonize if there's already cities in place.
Well, that is a good point.
Not sure I'd be too keen on colonizing a planet when we're still not sure what happened to the previous inhabitants. I mean, so far it looks like people just got up and left, but why?
Some kind of mass exodus or some kind of strange catastrophe or something. Maybe another race came by and did something to them. Any number of theories. It'd be
Well, that's
nice if we
true.
could find something like DNA or something to scan or trace.
Well, that's what concerns me the most, Chief. Your point. There is no DNA.
Yes, that's very disturbing, Commander.
Couple that with the fact that, to Lieutenant Nadan's point, it looks like they just up and left, but their level of technology would suggest that they wouldn't be capable of relocating an entire planet themselves.
Yes, agreed.
All right, team. Well, let's keep our eyes out. Let's make sure to play it a little safe if we are to encounter these visitors that the captain mentioned. The fact that she didn't mention from what species they are or what polity implies that we might not have too much experience with this race, with this group. So,
So they're probably non-Federation.
presumably.
First contact.
Very true. Well, either way, let's make sure to play it safe if we are to encounter them, of course. Friendly, but on alert. Okay. And we'll continue making our way to the power signature.
Yep. So we'll head back up to the ship. Captain, operations has just informed you that the ship has reached orbit. Captain, the Empire ship has just reached orbit, and it looks like they're ready to launch shuttles. Yep, Captain's gone. All right, we'll stick with the away team then. All right, so the away team, you probably walk for a good 30 to 40 minutes or so. It is taking you a little bit longer to walk this distance due to your suits. But you eventually reach um, the tram station. And when you get to the tram station from the ground that you're on, it's kind of on a raised platform almost. But you could see that there's briefcases, handbags, and other items that could potentially be used like for someone's day-to-day commute. Umbrellas, handbags, various devices, like handheld devices.
And does it look like they were just dropped on the ground?
Yes.
Are there any like transporter or other energy signatures?
Nope.
Hmm.
Casey, would the articles left on the ground, would anything indicate signs of an attack or a struggle?
Well, I guess it falls into our other issue. If there was, surely that would leave some DNA from, in the form of blood from hand-to-hand confrontations or matter from energy weapon fire. But I can look a little deeper to see if there's any other subtle signs of struggle.
Point taken.
According to my tricorder here, there's no evidence of any weapons discharges in the area of any significant kind.
It's interesting.
Quite unsettling, Commander.
It's looking more and more like they seem to have literally just disappeared. Huh. Okay, well, let's continue making our way. We'll want to try to beat this other team to this power source, of course.
All right, back to the bridge. Captain, Knight reports to you, Captain, the Empire ship has just entered orbit. And it seems that they are preparing to launch shuttles.
Understood. Are any of the shuttles heading towards the away team's location?
One of these shuttles is, Captain. The rest seem to be spreading out to other locations on the planet.
How many are in that shuttle?
Detecting 6 individuals.
Understood. Hail the or MP, is that right?
Empire.
Empire. Hail the Empire ship. Uh, Captain, I would like to invite you to come aboard my vessel to get to know you. Sort of a cultural exchange between our two people.
This would be agreeable. We have never encountered a ship of your make before. And we see that you have superior technology. Perhaps a technological exchange may be in order.
We do not engage in technological exchange, though we do will exchange cultural um, information. We are explorers, after all. Being out here and learning about other species and what the universe is as a whole is what we seek.
Mutual understanding is one of the core tenets of the interplanetary coalition. Our ideals are not too dissimilar.
That's good to know.
Should I prepare one of my shuttles to head over, or will you send one to me?
We have an ability to transport individuals from one point to another without the use of a shuttle or to dock with a starship.
And he'll look at you kind of confused. This technology cannot exist. It has been determined that it is impossible to move matter over distance.
We do a form of matter to energy conversion, and we store everything inside a. To leave it the long story or a long technical explanation short, we are able to transport matter from one point to another in the form of conversion of into energy.
Fascinating. Now that understands why your team is on the planet without a ship or shuttle.
Indeed.
And he'll kind of stand back and say, I am ready to be transported.
Understood. We'll have our transporter beam you over, and I will meet you down in at our transporter room.
I look forward to meeting you in person.
As do I.
And the communication will cut.
And she'll go down to the transporter room. Lieutenant Knight, the bridge is yours.
I kept. Heading back to the planet. As the away team is leaving the tram station, starting to head toward the building of the power source, you notice that in one of the courtyards near your location, a shuttle touches down nearby.
Well, it looks like we found our visitors.
As you continue further, you notice that there are 6 individuals that join the main road that you are walking toward the building. They're maybe within 100 meters of you at this point, maybe a little further ahead. You notice that they are not wearing suits of any kind, and they do seem to be armed with some type of weapons, although they are in holsters. They do notice you, however.
Are they reacting at all, or are they still walking towards the power source?
They seem to be waiting for you.
Huh. So DeGrasse will say, well, team, here we go. Let's see what they have to say.
And you walk up to the group of Empire, and one of them will say, I am Lieutenant Awa of the Empire. Greetings to you.
I am Commander Haber DeGrasse of the USS Expedition. Greetings to you as well.
Has your survey of the planet bore any fruit?
Well, and DeGrasse looks around at his team. To be honest, not too much so far. Seems, and as I'm sure you're aware, there don't appear to be any inhabitants. None that we can find, at least.
Yes, our planetary telescopes have determined as much, and that's why we thought that this would be an excellent candidate for colonization. It is not every day you find planets with infrastructure able to support population right away.
Well, and he's being diplomatic, I could certainly see how that may be true. Are you curious at all as to what happened to the prior inhabitants?
We assume that they wiped themselves out. That seems to be the natural course with species that do not form coalitions with each other.
Say more. Are you saying that they failed to unite their planet?
That is one possible theory, that maybe they went to war with themselves. However, much more likely is potentially an outside force might have attacked and got rid of the population here. We cannot be for sure, of course.
Well, it's certainly an interesting theory.
Perhaps we could exchange data so that we could know which parts of the city you have already surveyed, so that we can survey the city much more quickly.
And DeGrasse will deflect. Well, it's funny you should mention. We're actually on our way to continue surveying the city, and he'll look at their equipment. To be honest, can he judge the level of sophistication they have based on their equipment?
Give me insight engineering difficulty 1.
Okay.
Gain of momentum. You could pretty much tell that their scanning equipment are centuries out of date. Like you've pretty much seen these. Your symbiote has probably used tools similar centuries ago, if your symbiote is that old, of course.
Sure.
That I'm not sure about, but it's a couple century old.
Yeah. May have
Technology.
seen it in a museum type thing.
Right.
So yeah, he'll glance at their equipment and just very diplomatically say, well, the nature of how we exchange our data, I may be unable to guarantee that you would be able to receive the data that we could share. Perhaps it might be worthwhile after our respective missions are complete for our ships to share data. Of course, that would be the call of our respective captains. In other words, we can direct you to the places that we have been, but I'm not sure we'll be able to share any pertinent data.
Understood. I'm sure our superiors can come to some type of information or even technological exchange.
Well, if you'll excuse us, our intentions here are certainly friendly. We're just looking, so of course, if you run into anything, let us know if you need, well, anything. And in the spirit of introductions and good relations, we'll do what we can.
I look forward to speaking with you again.
Likewise, Lieutenant Awa. And if you'll excuse us, we'll be on our way.
And he'll kind of give a little nod and then motion to his team to start their survey, and they start walking in an opposite direction that you're heading. And meanwhile, back on the ship, I need to find a transporter room.
It's not our transport room.
I have no idea where that came from.
That was from
There
the
it
last
is.
arc.
That's a transporter room. I forgot to make a token for this guy. Oh. Ready when you are, Captain.
First, before we beam them over, what's their oxygen or their atmosphere like?
All our scans are indicating they breathe the same oxygen as we do, Captain.
I want to suffocate him to death. Understood. Begin transport.
Aye, Captain. And that alien will appear. Hold on, I might be able to make a token. Hold on. I have the file in here, do I not? There we are. And Captain what the hell did I call this guy? The captain of the other ship appears. I don't feel like looking it up right now. What a fascinating experience.
Welcome aboard the expedition.
It is a pleasure to be here. I believe you had questions for me.
Yes, I like to know more about your people. If you accompany me, I can give you a little brief tour of the ship.
Very well. And I'll step off the pad. This individual, he's probably stands about 7 feet tall, and he has a fairly humanoid figure, except his kneecaps essentially bend backwards, so kind of like an ostrich almost. But they're still thick as humanoid legs. It's just the kneecaps bend the opposite direction.
Considering he hovers 2 feet taller than her, it's probably looking up at him. Please, this way I'll give you a brief tour of the ship.
Where are you bringing him?
Uh, no, no, nothing like none of the sensitive areas. More like arboretum, the almost up to where the observation lounge is at.
Okay. Go ahead and role play up to the arboretum and such.
So, tell me, Captain, this Empire civilization you come from, uh, is it just your species, or is there a number of other species that have joined together?
The Empire and only the Empire come from planet 2K. That is the designation we were given for our planet when we joined the Interplanetary Coalition. Generally, species do not live on each other's planets.
That's very different from where I come from. The United Federation planets is made up of thousands of worlds with thousands of different species. Many of them live on each other's planets.
I see. So your coalition encompasses thousands of worlds.
It does indeed.
Ours is only a few dozen, if that. We are only a coalition of 6 species.
I see. Most coalitions start small and eventually grow big. It was not that long ago that the founders of the Federation started off very similar to your coalition.
It was decided at the forming that mutual cooperation and understanding would help us advance our technology in order to reach space and to avoid conflict and war. It has served the Empire greatly, as I'm sure it has all of the members of the Interplanetary Coalition.
The Federation operates on a very similar basis.
And you eventually walk into the Arboretum. Fascinating. You have entire ecosystems on your ship.
We do indeed.
This is technology we can only dream of.
Well, this is a little bit of hard work and some dirt. Doesn't solve.
The advantages of systems such as this must be enormous. Is this how you deal with the long time and distance between the stars?
In a matter of speaking, yes, it's a place where we, come to relax and walk and be one with nature in a sense.
I must say, your vessel is truly impressive. The sheer size of the ship dwarfs anything we have. Even our largest colony ships do not compare to the size of this vessel.
Um, this vessel is just one of many that we have within Starfleet. Though at times I like to think this ship is one of a kind, but there are other vessels out there like her.
Bridge the captain.
Go ahead, Bridge.
Sensors have been tracking the storm over the North Pole, and we noticed that the storm is starting to move toward the away team's location. Right now, the storm is reading as a moderate thunderstorm. Should not pose any risk to the away team, however.
Notify the away team to get to the location to investigate the tower in question and to seek shelter if need be.
Understood, Captain.
I don't suppose you have anyone at that location as well?
I'm sure they do, but my operatives have been trained for all types of inclement weather. They are prepared. This should not interfere with their survey mission.
I see. If you'll follow me to our observation round, I can give you some information on the United Federation of Planets.
That would be most agreeable. Judging by the state of your technology, it might be beneficial for the Empire to build more relations with this federation.
That is something we might be willing to do, depending on the nature of what you wish to do. But we do welcome all sorts of relationships with open arms and even trade in some sense.
Excellent. And he follows you out of the arbory. And we will head back to the away team. I believe the away team is all back now, right?
Yep, we should be good.
Expedition to away team.
Wait team here.
We are tracking that the storm at the North Pole is starting to descend on your location. We advise that you get to the location of the power source quickly and take shelter if necessary.
Any sense as to how much time we have?
It is a rapidly moving storm, so I estimate that it will reach your location in about 10 minutes.
Okay, understood. Away team out. Well, you heard him, team. Let's make sure we get there within 10 minutes.
And in the distance, you could see the storm starting to move in. It's very much like a thunderstorm. There's lightning, there's thunder. You know, it's pretty loud. But you're able to move to the building fairly quickly. And as you get to the building, you notice that this building is the tallest building in the city. It stands about 20 stories tall.
Well, lieutenants, you mentioned that it was a fusion power source that was coming from inside this building.
Yes.
Any sense as to whether the power source is at the base of the building or higher up in the building structure?
Can we tell that, or could we tell that up in orbit, or would I need to scan now?
That would be a scan now. This is going to be reason or insight using your science or con, difficulty 1.
I got it.
All right, you gain a momentum, so I guess you have 1 float at this point.
Commander, the power source is in the top section of the building.
Okay. I guess since we have to use this float, do we know? I don't know, Nidan. I was going to ask if we. Yeah, that's actually a good one, Prax.
Well, I'm guessing it's coming from it's powering the computers in the computer section. Would that be a good guess?
That is,
Jim?
that is accurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have any sense as to whether it's dangerous at all? Is it stable? Is it releasing some sort of radiation?
The building is structurally sound. Like I said, they've only been deserted for 2 decades, so the building's structurally sound. It's not, it's typical of what your ship's fusion generator is. So it's not putting out any radiation. There's nothing harmful about the power source. It is intermittent, however. From lack of maintenance. So, it'll power, then it'll turn off, power, turn off,
Sure.
flicker,
Okay, DeGrasse will say, well, team, let's take shelter. And as we're walking into the building, he'll ask the chief to give his opinion on whether the structure can withstand a coming storm.
Scan the building, scan the power source. I assume the building is more than sufficient for just a thunderstorm.
Yep.
So you want me to see if I can do some maintenance on the power source?
You need to get there first.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
basically, you guys just walked in the stores on the bottom, so you're like in the lobby.
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good thought. I just want to make sure that the building wasn't gonna
Yeah,
collapse or be
and
damaged.
then it's pretty solid. The building.
Okay.
It should be able to provide shelter. So we should be safe in here from the storm.
Okay. Well, is anybody in the mood for a walk? I'm a little nervous as to, well, if we were to use any sort of other transportation device inside this building.
Probably should, yeah. I'm up for walking. I'm walking the ship.
Okay. Casey, what about you?
I even go through the crazy shipping tubes.
I am ready to move when you are, Commander.
All right. Well, let's get a workout in.
Okay. In order to climb the 20 flights of stairs, I'm going to need everyone on the away team to give me a fitness security, and I have all this threat. Difficulty 3. This will be a succeed at cost task. So if you fail, like nothing really bad's gonna happen. It's just there's gonna be a complication.
Well, I have a force for it. So, I would like to buy a third die with a point momentum.
We have 6. You could probably buy more if you wanted.
I too will buy an extra die.
I don't want to risk rolling a bunch of bad, like, fails.
I could probably get some momentum back, like if you.
I just don't want to roll like 20s.
It is always the risk.
Yes.
Well, don't worry, Mendrock. With my fitness, I'll be the one
Yeah.
weighing it down.
I didn't get anything. I'm gonna be tired. I definitely need to do some workouts.
All right, the doctor's going to use 3 momentum. It looks like Nadan used 1.
Yeah, I did use one. I made it though. Oh
So
no, doctor.
So I think you guys are at 1 momentum currently.
I'm gonna try and get this back, or go next and get some momentum back.
Mm-hmm.
Would you accept survival for a focus?
No.
All right. I'll do 1 momentum, 2 threat, then for 4 dice.
I do enjoy threat.
Yeah, you can get that back.
And
Oh,
you get
I got the 1 momentum back that I
Yep.
spent.
Then we just
Very
need
nice.
DeGrasse and Shashakrith.
I'll go next. Yeah, this is a gamble. I'll burn a momentum. So close.
Close. And Captain, if you'd roll for Shashakrith.
Take a threat.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
Triple 19s. Termination spin to adapt, improvise, and overcome.
Yeah, if you'd want.
Well, close.
Okay, so for all the away team except for Nadan and Casey, for the remainder of this episode, you are going to have a +1 complication range to all rolls because you are fatigued.
It's the heat.
The heat, the 20 flights of stairs. But eventually, you are able to make it back. You are able to make it up toward the top of the building on the same floor as the power source. And as soon as you reach the top of the stairs, you notice that the storm that has been raging the entire time that you've been climbing the stairs, that as soon as you get to the top, it gets even worse. It's now appears to be a severe storm as opposed to a moderate storm. So you can definitely tell that the wind's blowing, there's thunder, lightning crackling all around the city and the building. It's a definitely a storm. And we will head back up to the ship at this point. Captain, you probably take your guests to the observation lounge. You do everything there, and what would be the next place that you're taking them? Or is that it?
That's it. It's mostly doing cultural exchange, so like telling him what's not giving like maps or like sensitive information away, but saying like this is the Federation, this is what we are about.
Bridge to the captain.
Go ahead, Bridge.
We have been tracking the storm, and it appears to have gotten even worse. It has now been upgraded to a severe thunderstorm, Captain. And once more, the storm seems to also be increasing in height. The storm started out in the lower atmosphere, but has now expanded to reach the upper atmosphere as well.
Move the ship into a higher orbit.
Aye, Captain. It is unfortunate, Captain, but due to the storm, I think I might have to cut my visit short. I should really check on the status of my away teams, or of my survey teams.
Of course, I will escort you back to the transporter room. And she kind of goes to the replicator and replicates, the essentially documentation of here's the diplomatic documentation, like here's the Federation, blah blah blah.
He grabs the book, but he's more fixated on the replicator. You have such fascinating technology, Captain, able to create books out of thin air?
Well, like the laws of physics, nothing doesn't come from does come from somewhere. But our replicators work on a very similar platform as what the transporter does.
I see that we have much to learn still of the workings of the universe. And I feel this Federation might be a perfect ally to help the Empire make that transition to a galactic player.
Well, the Federation is we are peaceful explorers, and we prefer not to engage in conflict, but we will not aid others to obtain such aggressive stances.
And in that regard, we share your belief, Captain. Nothing can be gained through conflict. But peaceful talks and negotiations such as this is the true makings of a great civilization.
Yes,
And yours must be really great.
we are just one of many, but we also do, depending on states of different cultures and a willingness of the population, we also do welcome membership into the Federation.
And can that information be found in this document?
It can indeed.
Well, I have a great opportunity to present to my planet's leadership.
Follow me right this way. We'll head back down to the transporter room and get you back to your ship.
Thank you for taking the time to show me these great wonders, Captain.
It's been my pleasure.
And he'll get up and follow you out. We'll head back down to the planet. DeGrasse, you just get off the line with the ship informing you that the severity of the storm has increased.
Well, team, looks like the ship has notified us of the upgrade to storm severity. Might be a little choppier down here than what we initially anticipated.
We probably would not be wise to mess with the power source during a severe storm. I do not know what kind of safety measures this building has, if any. Or electrical, like surge protection or the like.
Well understood, Chief. Excuse me. With that said, could you take a look at the power source?
Yeah,
Just give me your general assessment.
Yeah, I'm certainly going to look at it. I don't know if I want to attempt to do maintenance on it. We'll see.
Okay.
I will
I'll,
take a deeper look at it
Yep.
and see if Natan wants to lend
So
me a
you
hand.
guys make your way to where the power source is coming from, and you enter, and it appears to be a type of computer room. With your standard servers and processors and storage devices. Um, and you start to take a look at this room's power supply, and you notice that this is an independent power source. The only function that this power source has is to power the equipment in this room. And you notice that that you will have to give a quick power boost to the fusion generator, just to stabilize it in order to
Okay.
get full power back to the room. It's been without maintenance for 2 decades.
Sure. Will it, will doing so allow us to access the computers as well? Yeah.
Yes, yes, it will.
Alright. Alright.
But yeah, the first thing you'd have to do is perform maintenance on the generator.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just going to be a control engineering difficulty 1.
Alright.
It's very similar to what you have on the starship. Their power supply is top notch.
Alright. Let's see. Diagnostics or EPS systems for focus?
I think either of those would work.
Alright.
Gain a momentum, and you're able to stabilize the power supply. And you notice that a few of the computer terminals do power on in this room.
Well, I have it stable, Commander. And it looks like we should be able to access some of these computers. Maybe there's something useful on them to explain the population disappearance.
My thinking exactly, Chief. Good work. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so what do you guys do next?
Yeah, we'll attempt to access the computer systems. How many terminals are there?
I am going to rule that there are 2 terminals that you can use.
Cool.
So for the remainder of what's happening here, you can have a main role and 1 assist.
Gotcha.
So the next step is you need to decipher the language. So that is going to be a control command difficulty of 2.
So my control command is 15. Does anybody beat that? Casey, maybe?
Sorry, what was the roll?
Control command. I have
Oh,
a 15, so.
I think I might also pull a 15. I have a 14 in control command.
So does Mendrock.
But he has computers as a focus, so probably
Yeah.
better with him.
All right, I'll take lead on this. My control command's 15. And I have a focus in computers as well. Mendrock, do you want to back me up?
Absolutely, Commander.
And I'll accept computers as a focus.
Alright.
Cool, thank you. You said difficulty 2?
Correct. But I have this threat. I'm going to increase complication range to 2.
Well, mine is already 2 from being exhausted.
Oh yeah, so yours would go to 3 then, Mendrock.
Same for me.
All right, but the grass you nailed the roll, so no worries there. And Mendrock did not hurt you, so you gain a momentum, and you are able to decipher the language, which is more advanced than most. Hence why you had to run it through the translator and do some adjustments. But you're able to get the key base sequences for the language to understand it. The next thing you have to do is you need to decrypt the computer to get access to the files. That is going to be a daring with... It's either going to be daring or control with either engineering or security difficulty of 4.
Well, I
yeah.
have 16 with control engineering.
Well, it's all you then. Casey, what's your daring or control security?
16 control security.
Take it away, boys.
I'm high a 39. Well, yeah. You said 4?
Yes, difficulty of 4.
Alright. Well, reverse engineering is a focus, don't we?
This would probably either be a computer's focus or like a hacking focus. Damn, look at that roll, Mendrock head.
Crushed.
That's why I'm your chief engineer.
True that.
So that's 6 successes, so you gain 2 momentum out of that. And yeah, you're able to get into the system and start searching for the file. Captain, you just returned to the bridge after seeing the Empire captain off. Oops, wrong thing.
Status report on the away team.
The away team just reported in that they are currently starting to repair the power supply and start trying to get into the computer systems that they found. However, Captain, the update on the storm is increasingly getting worse around the away team location, but the storm has just broken through the atmosphere. And we are tracking the storms getting close to both our ship and the Empire ship, Captain.
What's the status of the Empire's shuttle on the surface?
It appears to still be down there, Captain.
Do they appear to be in any immediate danger?
It seems that they have taken shelter as well.
Mr. Silva, it's strange that a storm system would begin exiting the atmosphere.
Yes, Captain. I have never seen this phenomenon before.
Begin a scan on that storm front that's heading towards us. Helm, move us away and notify the MP ship that they advise them that they should be doing the same. Lieutenant Knight.
Captain, the storm seems to be increasing speed toward both of our ships. I estimate an impact with both the vessels in approximately 30 seconds.
Lock tractor beam on the MP ship and move us out of orbit. Empire ship and move us out of orbit.
Okay, I'm going to need 2 task rolls from you, Captain. One is to lock the tractor beam, and then the other is to maneuver away. So the tractor beam difficulty is probably going to be difficulty 4. One for the range, and then the other one for the interference from the storm.
Shipboard tactical systems for focus for Coda.
Yes.
Can she spend her determination on protecting others? Is my pa?
Yeah, definitely.
One threat and one momentum for an extra dice. And just
6 momentum, so you get 6 successes, you get 2 momentum. Then just need the ship, structure, security, I believe.
I believe so. Might be structure engineering,
Get another momentum out of that as well. The tractor beam has successfully been engaged, and then I'm going to make the con task now, since I have even more threat. So maneuvering with the storm is going to add 1. Trying to track that ship's going to add 1. The speed of the storm is going to add. I'm going to make this a difficulty of 3.
he has pushed the limit. So whenever you
Yep, difficulty 2.
and you know what? He'll spend his determination on propulsion as a science, navigation is an art.
Yep. So this will be Daring Con, assisted by Engines Con.
One threat and one momentum for the extra dice.
Be 5 there. Just need the ship. 7 total, so you 5 momentum. Dear God, he's insane. Or you're just getting very lucky.
I mean, I could roll, see how much more float I get, but there's no point in rolling that.
But yes, so your team is able to engage the tractor beam on the Empire ship, and you are able to move both your ship and its ship away.
Can we use the float to say that we, while doing that maneuver, we able to get the Empire ship into close range and able to extend our shields around it as we raise our
Yes.
shields?
Yes, I will accept that advantage. Captain, the storm is about to intercept with our shields. Shields are holding.
Khan, continue to move us away from the planet.
Aye, sir. Aye, Captain. We're being hailed from the Empire, Captain.
On screen.
Captain, your technology never ceases to amaze me. You have definitely saved our ship and the lives of my crew.
We're not out of the woods yet, Captain, but until we ascertain why this storm is following us through space, remains to be seen.
I'm trying to raise my survey teams now, but the storm is having interfering effects on our communications. I am unable to locate them.
We'll see what we can do. Last time we checked, your at least around the where your server team was, their ROA team. They appear to be fine. We'll see if we can't get a hold of. See if I can get a hold of my away team and check on the status of your team.
Thank you, Captain. And the communication cuts.
Lieutenant, see if you can't raise the away team.
Back on the planet's surface. And you hear your communicator chip as the captain tries to raise you. There is some interference though, so keep that in mind. But you do get through, Captain.
Commander DeGrosse, what is your status?
Captain, we're currently gathering as much information from the computer systems surrounding the fusion power source as we possibly can. The structure seems to be holding against the storm, though.
The storm front just risen out of the atmosphere and has proceeded to attack both the expedition and the Empire vessel. We currently have them under tow, and our shields have been raised. Keep in mind, we cannot beam you back at this time. We have currently maneuvered out of orbit of the planet and proceeding on a trajectory away from the actual planet itself.
Any sense as to how long this could be until you could transport us back?
That is unknown at the time. Keep in mind that the captain of the Empire vessel is unable to get a hold of their away team that's on the surface.
Understood, Captain. Would you like us to see if we can discover their whereabouts?
If you could, but remember, Captain, do not pose. Your safety is top priority. Also, the key to stopping the storm is most likely rest in the palm of your hands, Commander. If we're not unable to stop it here.
Well, Captain, I'm humbled. Thank you for the promotion. But
Commander.
humbly, I do have to say you're the only captain on board. So, understood, Captain. We'll assess the situation, determine if we feel that we can make it out in the storm safely, and if we can, we'll do what we need to do to attempt to discover the status of the other away team. And to your point, hopefully discover a way to lessen or eliminate the storm.
Very well, expedition out.
Did he
Yeah, we'll
say, oh, my bad, did she say that it came into space and attacked the ship?
Chief, I was wondering the same.
It sounds, is it sentient or something? But maybe it's a weapon. That's weird and scary.
That's a very good point, Chief.
What if the power source here is what's powering the storm? It's just an idea, but
That's a
Well,
good
I
theory.
mean, we can investigate that. Yeah, certainly.
Well, first things first, let's discover what we can on these computer systems.
Hmm.
Gather as much data as to the inhabitants here and what happened to them. And then afterwards, we can explore some theories. And, Chief, maybe you can cut the power and see what effect it has on the storm.
All right, Commander.
All right, let's finish our work.
Okay, so you have access to the files. It's just trying to find. So there's a lot of data on here. So right now it's trying to cut through that data to find something relevant. So this is going to be an extended task. It is going to be control plus engineering. I'm going to, since I have all this lovely, lovely threat, and now that time is against you, um, the base difficulty is going to be 4. The work is going to be 8. The magnitude 3. The resistance 1.
Alright. I have a bunch of talents that will be helpful. And you said engineering and control? Or
Um, this is I'm probably going to make this daring engineering.
alright, that's fine.
Just because you're trying to do this in the storm, you're trying to do this quickly.
Okay.
Do you mind if I assist on this?
Yep, you can have 1 assist.
And how many successes do I need?
4.
4? Alright. I will buy 2 dice. And computers as a focus.
Yes.
Alright.
Oh dear God.
Jesus.
You guys gained 2 momentum out of that. Go ahead and roll me 7 challenge dice, Chief. Mendrock is just crushing these rolls. Do you have anything special with your rolls?
Yeah, I roll fingers and thumbs. It gives me a bonus momentum when I use a computer console,
Oh,
including
yeah.
station. And then
Yeah.
I have in the nick of time to do additional work.
Oh dear God.
And then I have meticulous.
God, you probably just wiped this out here.
And
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's 2 breakthroughs right there, and then with your miracle worker. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say I have coordinated efforts too, so with those effects, we can do more work.
And then on top of that, you have a bonus momentum to use it. You don't even need it. God, your character is good at these.
yeah, it's what I do.
So Mendrock, most of the data that you're finding is basically like the entire history of the race.
Oh.
Almost like its entire collective history. You are finding some active audio files that you can play
Mhm.
that donates the last few weeks, if not days, of their history, so to speak.
Alright.
Kind of like reports.
I'll play those and download the other data, or at least, see if I can make a copy of it somehow for records.
All right, we'll get to the copies in a minute. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, so report number 1. Science Director's report. The strange disappearances of our people is not only continuing, but seems to be accelerating. The local defense forces have determined that about 25% of our planet's total populace has gone missing. All of this is being compounded by the severe thunderstorms that is wreaking havoc on our power grids. The council has asked me to look into the cause of these storms. Best that I could tell is that they started to form around the North Pole. As to what the cause is, I do not have the slightest idea. Perhaps the military is testing a new piece of technology. This will not be the first time that some out of control military experiment has left devastation on our world. I think I will bring that up at the next council meeting. It looks like it'll be another long night for me. Tamika will not be happy. I missed 4 out of 5 dinners the last few nights. I will make it up to her, however. Maybe a vacation to the salt dunes will do us some good. End of report number 1.
Commander, the storm is obviously involved. It looks like.
Well, given what we know about the situation, seems these storms have been raging, well,
Yep.
for at least a
Yep.
couple decades.
Yes. And there's more. There's apparently 4 more recordings. Should I play them all?
Sure. Why not? Let's hear them out.
Science Director's report. The storms have continued to increase in size and severity. Almost every part of the planet is now covered in some type of weather pattern. To make matters worse, about half of our populace is now missing, including several members of the council. What is left of the military is placed on high alert, but there does not seem to be any sign of attack. Luckily, the remaining populace is going about their business as usual. It is good to see some normalcy in what is anything but normal. We will need that resolve if we are going to get through this. End of report 2.
Did the report say like half the planet was covered with the storms?
It said half the people were missing and almost all of the planet is covered in storm.
Well, Chief, let's proceed. I'm curious as to if they discovered what was causing these storms. Might clue us into what we can do to try to get out of this mess.
Acting Council's report. I don't even know where to begin. 90% of our people have just vanished in the space of 2 weeks. Almost all the council is missing, as well as most of the science and military. Even my beloved Tamika is gone. She vanished right before my very eyes. How is this possible? What is happening to us? The storm has gotten worse. Severe storms cover the entire planet, and cyclones have appeared near both poles. End of report 3. Want me to keep going?
Yes, please do.
This is report 4 of 5. Acting Council's report. She's alive. I don't know how, but my personal computing device keeps coming up with the same message. Something only Tamika would say. But what does it all mean? Only a handful of us remain now, and we are trying to download all of our history into this computer core. If we are to disappear, hopefully our history will not. And then report 5. Acting Council's report. This will be the final entry into this report. We have succeeded in getting our people's history into the core. Now all I can do is wait for whatever's happening to happen to me. I want... And it cuts out mid-sentence.
Well, it looks like that's it, Commander. You want to try to recover the history for completeness, or would you rather have me just shut it down?
Let's make sure that we've combed the computer systems for any piece of data that we can possibly download. Let's leave no stone unturned.
Aye, Commander.
The thing that gives me pause is that he said that he received a communication from his loved one.
Yes, that is something we may want to try to look into. I don't know if we didn't take any of those devices though, did we?
No. Nadine, what do you make of all this?
Well, he mentioned that the message from Tamika came on his personal computation device. Do we know where that is?
GM, do we see anything that could fit that description?
Give me insight security difficulty 2.
Sounds like a job for a security officer.
Yep, it was Insight Security.
Yes, and
Oh.
I have threat, so increase your complication range to 2.
Can I use observation as a focus?
Sure can.
Okay. I will spend, or I'll just generate one threat then.
All right.
Actually, both of those were a success. I just forgot to hit focused use. I think. Wait, no, sorry, no, my bad. They weren't. They were too high.
They're both 16s.
Oh wait, sorry. I'm like, I'm losing my mind.
So on one of the data cores, you notice a small pad that kind of looks like like an iPad almost. Sitting on one of the servers.
Yeah, he'll go pick it up. Lieutenant, is this perhaps what you're looking for?
Could be. I'll see if we can open it up.
It is without power currently.
Can I plug it into something to power it?
So this is going to be a control engineering. I'm going to make this a difficulty 2. Complication 2.
I'll spend a momentum for one extra die. I'm following a hunch here.
Offer source that's in my engineering kit.
Yeah, I just assumed she grabbed the one or plugged it in the tricorder to charge it.
Yeah.
The more difficulty was just making sure you didn't overload the device is really what the difficulty was. But you get your momentum back, and you are able to power the device back on.
Great. I will see if I can find a messenger app or something of the sort.
I think I will type this in the group chat because I assume you're all probably huddling around this at this point.
Yeah. I have a suspicion that I'm investigating with this, but I don't necessarily want to give voice to it because it's so outlandish. It would come off stupid if I'm wrong.
Ghost in the computer scenario?
Basically, yes.
I think it's a good idea.
So you find this one message written multiple times in like on like a notepad in there.
Huh. Are there other messages from that? Or is that the only one?
That is the only one.
Do we want to try and send a message to whoever this is?
I'll take a group vote on this, but my vote is yeah, sure, why not? Casey, Medrock, Doctor, any dissenting opinion?
I say whatever you want, Commander. Our options are not very, don't have very many here.
Yeah.
We can't really go out in the storm as it is. Probably
All right.
way too dangerous.
All right. Yeah, let's try to send a message.
What message? Well, okay. What message? How are you sending messages? Where? The who, what, where, when, how.
I'm gonna try to type it into the notepad. That appears to have the message being received from this. And I'll suggest we start with our Tabitha or Tamika. Just to confirm who we think we're talking with.
So what do you type in? Because I assume you're just typing something in.
Yeah.
As soon as you finish typing in, whatever you type in, a bolt of lightning impacts the building very close to your location. It breaks several of the windows and exposes the building to the outside storm. As wind, rain, hail start beating inside the building, blowing open doors, knocking over, papers, blowing open doors. And as the storm starts to increase in your location, your suits do this.
We're getting a hail.
Correct.
Commander?
DeGrasse will put it through. Won't say anything.
And in a voice not too dissimilar from your ship's computer, it will say, "Greetings, beings of carbon.
Greetings. To whom am I speaking?
We were, once like you. No longer are we confined to carbon prisons.
Are you the previous inhabitants of this planet?
The rocky world below was our home. State your intentions of our rocky world."
Discovery. Research. To find out what happens.
In the clouds do we now dwell. The electricity of life is now our existence. We have moved past a need for designations.
Understood. Do you understand that this storm is hostile to us? You can damage us.
The other beings of carbon wish to settle on our rocky world.
And we assume that you wish to prevent that.
The electricity of life will cover the rocky world while it is threatened.
And if we can get them to agree to leave this planet alone, will you return back to the poles? Will you return back to your previous position?
The rocky world will remain open to those wishing to explore. But sacred is our old rocky world. A mementos to our previous carbon-based existence.
Well, will you allow us to explain this to the other carbon-based life forms? If we can explain this to them, then maybe we can convince them to leave this planet alone as well. To do that, we will have to exit this structure without being damaged. And so we'll have to ask you to pull back to allow us to communicate that to the other life forms.
The clouds will return. You may communicate with others. And your suit will make this sound. And you notice that the storm is starting to subside, and the sun is starting to shine as the clouds retreat. Back on the ship. Captain, the clouds seem to be heading back toward the planet. Or the storm seems to be heading back to the planet.
Hail the away team.
Channel open, Captain.
Commander, whatever you did, it worked. The storm cloud is retreating from our position.
Well, Captain, I would tell you what happened, but I'm not quite sure that you would believe it.
I've seen stranger things, Commander.
Well, all I can say is that the reviewing our discoveries and the logs of the mission is going to be very interesting reading. Now, if you can believe it, we promised Storm that we would rendezvous with the other team on the planet. Could you help give us a location so we can go meet that team? And, well, Captain, in the meantime, it might be worth it for you to communicate with the captain of the other ship and let them know that this planet apparently doesn't want to be colonized. It will react quite violently to the prospect.
Slow down, Commander. So, this cloud is. The storm cloud is sentient?
It is what was once the population of this planet, Captain.
So they have become energy beings existing in the storm cloud.
Apparently.
Told you it's hard to believe, Captain.
Not really, Commander. There are several energy beings that we deal with on a daily basis.
Well, glad to know that it's par for the course.
Well, I don't know if our fellow explorers will understand that, though, but I will communicate with their captain and inform them. We'll give you the coordinates of the other away team to see for you to check on their position. But good work, Commander.
Oh, thank you, Captain.
Expedition out.
And the channel cuts.
Ops, open hailing frequencies to the High vessel.
Aye, Captain. Captain, you've done it. The storms have subsided.
That would be my thanks to my away team. However, I have to ask you to hold off on your colonization efforts. This planet is indeed inhabited.
Inhabited? We have found no evidence of habitation.
The storm clouds on the southern and northern poles of the planet is what remains of the inhabitants. They have ascended to a. They've shedded their carbon based form and ascended to more of an energy like state.
How is that possible?
I am not. It's for some species, it's a natural state of for evolution. For some of them, others not so much. But there are several species within this galaxy that are have shedded their, should I say, carbon form and taken on more energy, pure energy form.
Captain, give me presence command. Difficulty 3. I'm going to increase complication range to 2, however.
Negotiation.
Yeah.
I'd like to spend my determination on, it's a difficulty 3, right?
Yes.
It's compassion through understanding, as in I'm trying to kind of like make him understand and show compassion. Like, yeah, I understand you're wanting to colonize, but there's people already here.
I'll take it.
And take one threat, and I'll spend a momentum for the reroll. Extra dice.
Another 6 successes. So you get 3 momentum, so I believe you have 1 float. Captain, you have shown me many great wonders and uses of your energy conversion technology. I have experienced this firsthand. Normally, when someone speaks of energy beings, one has a tendency to doubt such talk as lunacy. However, based on my experiences aboard your ship and the sincereness that you speak to me, I do believe that you are telling the truth. I will deem this planet as inhabited so that no one else in our coalition will attempt to settle here.
That's all they ask for.
Again, I must thank you, Captain, for saving my ship and my crew's lives.
It's our pleasure.
Now, if you'll excuse me, Captain, I have survey teams to retrieve.
I understand. Until we meet again.
Thank you again, Captain.
Expedition out. Coda, cut tractor beam and lower our shields.
Aye, Captain. Tractor beam cut. Shields are down.
Lieutenant Ordrel, resume a standard orbit above the planet.
Aye, Captain.
Hail the away team.
Channel open.
Commander, the Empire has have deemed this planet unworthy of colonization and will begin retracting their survey team.
That's great news, Captain. Good work.
No, Commander, I believe it's your efforts that made today possible.
Well, it was certainly a team effort. Is there anything that you wish us to do on the planet's surface, or
We
should
are we are explorers after all. See what you can learn from these beings.
Understood, Captain?
Expedition out.
Well, team, as you heard the captain say, excellent work. We did establish first contact of sorts, I guess.
I guess we're leaving their data intact and not making a copy of it. Are we gonna return to the ship or attempt to speak to that other survey team?
Okay, well, try this again. And DeGrasse opens frequency.
Nadan, you hear your tricorder make several beeping noises. And I sent you a message.
Oh, sorry, I thought that was a communication.
Nope. Computer beep.
I will look over the data. What's this? Oh. Commander, they've sent us their entire history.
Really? That's fantastic.
It seems to be it's very large number of files. Wow.
Well, Chief, I guess they were quite forthcoming.
Well, it's kind of them to share that.
We
Certainly interesting to see what kind of relation the Federation makes with this planet if they wish to do so. I guess that's up to the captain's report and all.
Indeed. And Lieutenant, you were saying something?
I was curious of two things. The first one being, do you think we should go check on the status of the other group's away team? They might have been caught out in the storm, and if so, they might be injured.
That's a very good point. We'll certainly do so. Okay, team, unless there's anything else, I assume we can go to the location of the other away team and assess their situation.
for a little speed up, you guys are your sensors will locate the Empire away team. They have made it back to the shuttle and are beginning to do some repairs to it to get off the shuttle.
Look at the commander.
GM, you said they're currently doing repairs?
Correct.
So he'll walk up to Lieutenant Awa and offer assistance.
You are most kind, Commander. I will welcome assistance getting my shuttle repaired. Lightning, as you know, has quite devastating effects on improperly protected electrical components.
Yes, well, it could have been so much worse. Luckily, it wasn't. Chief.
Aye, Commander. I will take a look and see what I can do.
Yep. Chief, you're able to find that it's just some burnt out power relays, and you're able to quickly help them replace those. They have the spare parts.
Mhm.
You get the shuttle up and running. The shuttle takes off, and you call for transport back to the ship, leaving the planet once again, in air quotes, uninhabited. And I will call that the end of Ghost in the Wind.